Welcome to the 21 Things You May Not Know About the Indian Act Virtual Pilgrimage. My name's the Reverend John Borthwick, and I'm the minister here at St. Andrew's in Guelph, and I'm inviting my congregation to join me for a virtual pilgrimage as we read through the book 21 Things You May Not Know About the Indian Act. And so today we're at number 7 of the things. Number 7 is created a permit system to control Indians' ability to sell products from farms. This is around 1881 to 2014. So embedded into the Indian Act is this thing that basically said that the indigenous community at the time of the late 1800s was being forced, encouraged, whatever phrase you want to use, to civilize by turning to an agricultural economy or to farm. The idea was that we would transform the indigenous community's traditional way of living and their livelihood by encouraging them to embrace agriculture and farming. That is what the government did, and that had obvious impacts on the indigenous community. Not only for the sake that many of the lands that they were allowed to farm on were not considered the best land to create a significant harvest. In addition to that, the government, through the Indian Act, also forced who they could sell their produce or products to. In fact, they also weren't able to sell, strangely enough, to settlers moving into those areas. That was prevented. Another thing they were prevented from doing was collaborating, meaning maybe you've got a plot of land and another indigenous person and family has a plot of land, and maybe all of you could pool together your resources and purchase something, maybe a significant agricultural implement, tool, machine. You could collaborate in some way, and maybe that would make the harvesting easier or better or more efficient. Apparently, the government wouldn't allow that, wouldn't allow them to work together. It was forcing them from a mindset that comes from a European mindset, a white supremacist kind of mindset of this sort of forced individualism and self-reliance. That, we shouldn't be collectively doing things. You need to pull up your boots and do it all by yourself. And this was apparently a way of framing, forcing, coercing the indigenous community into a mindset that was seen as the norm within North American, Canadian culture. Stunningly, this particular piece of legislation wasn't repealed until 2014. 2014. Wow. Just another example of how the government intentionally sought to control the indigenous community's daily living, even how they make a living. And that's why, as we read this book, I hope it's challenging us to think about the ways in which we see and perceive the indigenous community today, and the ways in which an act that started way back in the late 1800s has impacts even to this very day in the life of people who are currently living in our own country, the country of Canada, and people who lived for hundreds of years under this kind of oppression, direction, control by our government, legislated control. Thanks for joining me for the 21 Things You May Not Know About the Indian Act. Keep reading, and if you have any comments or thoughts, by all means, send them my way through our email, through connecting with me through our website, www.standrewsguelph.com. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.